Hello everyone. South Asia is an incredibly diverse region in terms of terrain, culture, beliefs, and ethnicities. So what would happen if the 11 countries in this area merged into one unified nation? Is this a leading global superpower with a vast population and a powerful economy? Could this new nation potentially become a counterbalance to the US and China? Video, Let. The Southeast Asia region consists of 11 countries, divided into two main geographical parts. The first part is mainland Southeast Asia, also known as the Indo-Chinese Peninsula, which includes Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, and the peninsular part of Malaysia. This area has a total area of 2,071,589 square kilometers. The Malay Archipelago, also known as Maritime Southeast Asia, includes countries and territories such as Singapore, Eastern Malaysia, Brunei, Indonesia, Timor-Leste, and the Philippines. With a total area of 2,424,380 square kilometers, it is one of the largest island regions in the world. If Southeast Asia were to unite into a single nation, its total area would reach 4,495,969 square kilometers. In that case, it would become the 7th largest country in the world, ranking just after India. Indonesia and the Philippines are two Southeast Asian countries ranked among the top 10 nations with the longest coastlines in the world. According to data from the CIA's *The World Factbook*, Indonesia ranks third with 54,716 kilometers of coastline, while the Philippines holds fifth place with 36,289 kilometers. Notably, if the total coastline length of the entire Southeast Asian region is combined, it reaches 105,776 kilometers, ranking second globally, just behind Canada, 202,080 kilometers. Southeast Asia not only boasts a long coastline but also countless islands of varying sizes. Notably, Indonesia and the Philippines remain among the top 10 countries with the most islands in the world. Specifically, Indonesia has 17,504 islands, while the Philippines has 7,641. In total, the Southeast Asian region has approximately 32,400 islands, ranking 7th globally. The largest islands in the region include New Guinea, Borneo, Sumatra, Sulawesi, and Java. The island of New Guinea, currently shared between Indonesia and Papua New Guinea, is the world's second largest island with an area of 785,753 square kilometers. However, this Southeast Asian nation only administers the western part of the island, using the 141 degrees east meridian as the border along with a small area defined by the Fly River. The largest island entirely located within Southeast Asia is Borneo, with an area of 748,168 square kilometers. Currently, this island is shared by three countries: Indonesia, Malaysia, and Brunei. If Southeast Asia were to become a unified bloc, the borders here would disappear, thereby enhancing connectivity across the island's regions. Second and third largest islands respectively, the most populous island in Southeast Asia is Java. With an area of 138,794 square kilometers, this island ranks 5th in Southeast Asia and 13th globally. However, Java is actually the world. Southeast Asia is not only famous for its seas and islands but also boasts many high mountains. The region has a total of 65 mountain peaks exceeding 3,000 meters above sea level, with Indonesia accounting for 39, Myanmar having 23, Vietnam owning 2, and Malaysia contributing 1. Among these, the two regions with the highest concentration of mountainous areas are northern Myanmar, where the Himalayan range runs through, and West Papua in Indonesia, home to the Central Mountain Range spanning the island of New Guinea. The 8 highest mountains in Southeast Asia are all concentrated in northern Myanmar, with Mount Kakabo Razi being the tallest at 5,881 meters above sea level. This mountain is located in Kachin State, northern Myanmar, near the tri-border area between Myanmar, India, and China. Mount Kakabo Razi lies very close to the northernmost point of Southeast Asia, situated along the border region between Myanmar and China, specifically in the town of Nogming, Putao District, Kachin State. The westernmost point also belongs to Myanmar, located northwest of Maundor town. Mount Dor is in Rakhine State, the border area between Myanmar and Bangladesh. The easternmost point is located in the border area between Indonesia and Papua New Guinea, specifically at the mouth of the Taurasi River in Merauke Regency, South Papua Province. The southernmost point of Indonesia is located on Pamana Island in East Nusa Tenggara Province. This island lies at 11 degrees south latitude and is also the southernmost point of all of Asia. Despite spanning a vast area, if Southeast Asia were to unite as a single country, it would only border 4 neighboring nations: Bangladesh, 270 kilometers; India, 1,468 kilometers; China, 3,931 kilometers; and Papua New Guinea, 824 kilometers. Thus, the total length of Southeast Asia's border is 6,493 kilometers, with the border shared with China being the longest, accounting for nearly 60% of the total length. Population is the total number of people living in a specific area or country at a given time. It reflects the size and structure of a community and is a crucial factor in planning socio-economic policies. Southeast Asia is a region with a relatively high population density, averaging over 155 people per square kilometer. As of 2023, the 11 countries in the area are home to approximately 679.35 million people. If unified, Southeast Asia would become the world's third most populous region, trailing only the 2 billion people nations of India and China. Among them, the Javanese are the most populous ethnic group with over 100 million people, followed by the Vietnamese at around 90 million, and the Thai ranking third with a population of approximately 60 million. If we combine the populations of the 3 largest ethnic groups, the total exceeds 250 million people. However, this number still falls short of half the population of the entire Southeast Asian region. If 11 countries merge into one, many different languages will be widely spoken across the territory. Alongside native languages, English may be chosen as one of the official languages for administrative convenience. Previously, Myanmar, Malaysia, and Singapore were British colonies, while the Philippines was under American rule. Thailand, too, was deeply influenced by British dominance. Currently, English is also taught in many countries across the region. Therefore, using the world's most common language not only simplifies administrative procedures but also facilitates connections among the peoples in the region. Southeast Asia is not only ethnically diverse but also a convergence point for all major world religions. By 2020, Islam was the most widely practiced religion in Southeast Asia, accounting for 40.08% of the region's population, primarily concentrated in Indonesia, Brunei, and Malaysia. Buddhism accounts for 28.41% of the population, primarily concentrated in countries such as Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, and Cambodia. Christianity is widespread in the Philippines and Timor-Leste, with followers accounting for approximately 21.33% of Southeast Asia's total population. Additionally, Southeast Asia has 4.16% of its population following folk religions, 4.7% with no religious affiliation, 1.09% adhering to Hinduism, and 0.23% practicing other faiths. It is evident that this is a region with an incredibly diverse culture, home to hundreds of different ethnic groups who speak various language families such as Austroasiatic, Austronesian, Thai Kadai, Sino-Tibetan, and Hmong Mien. The reason is that Southeast Asia has a fragmented terrain divided into countless subregions, from mainland to archipelagos, from high mountains and dense forests to deep rivers and plains, along with many distinct climatic zones. However, Southeast Asian countries still share a common trait. Rice remains the staple food in their daily meals. This is precisely why ASEAN chose the image of a sheaf of rice as the symbol on its flag. If Southeast Asia were to become a unified nation, this would also be the national flag of that new country. This flag consists of 4 colors: blue, red, white, and yellow. The blue symbolizes peace and stability, while the red represents courage and a strong source of motivation. White represents purity, yellow symbolizes prosperity, and the golden circle at the center signifies the spirit of unity among Southeast Asian nations. Economics is a vital field in social life, encompassing the production, distribution, exchange, and consumption of goods and services. It not only directly impacts the lives of individuals but also determines the development of a nation. Previously, Southeast Asia was known as the region that supplied the world's finest spices, including signature commodities such as pepper, ginger, cloves, cinnamon, and nutmeg. Currently, this area continues to focus on agricultural development but has diversified its crops, particularly industrial plants such as rubber, coffee, oil palm, cocoa, and tobacco. Among these, rubber is the most important crop, with 9 out of the world's 15 largest rubber exporting countries located in Southeast Asia. Currently, Southeast Asia has only one country that has achieved this milestone. The oil palm is one of the staple crops of Indonesia and Malaysia, accounting for nearly 90% of global production. The staple agricultural product of Southeast Asia in the food crop sector is rice. Among the top 10 rice-producing countries in the world, as many as 6 are from Southeast Asia, including Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, Myanmar, the Philippines, and Cambodia. In 2022, countries in the region produced 194 million tons of rice. Beyond agriculture, Southeast Asia has also experienced strong growth in the industrial and service sectors. Key industries include food processing, chemical production, oil refining, metallurgy, and machinery manufacturing. Currently, countries in the region are intensifying the application of digital technology, creating numerous development opportunities for e-commerce, fintech, and digital infrastructure sectors. By 2023, developed nations had established a robust digital infrastructure foundation while boosting their gross domestic product through advanced digital facilities. By 2023, Southeast Asian economies accounted for 8% of the world's total export value. Since 2020, ASEAN has surpassed the EU to become China's largest trading partner. China Plus One. According to a recent HSBC survey, businesses in the Asia-Pacific region are expected to relocate 24.4% of global supply chains within the next 1 to 2 years. This figure has increased compared to the 21.4% level in 2020. With the reopening of borders and the easing of travel restrictions, the tourism industry in the region has begun to recover. This region attracts visitors with its diverse culture, stunning natural landscapes, and a rich array of attractions. Among these, the most captivating destinations include Bali, Indonesia, Phuket, Thailand, Phu Quoc, Vietnam, and Boracay, Philippines. Southeast Asia still holds significant development potential, enabling it to maintain stable economic growth. This contributes to the expansion of an increasingly large middle class in the region. If combined, Southeast Asia's GDP in 2023 would reach $3.867 trillion, ranking 5th in the world. This figure surpasses India, the UK, and France, while trailing only the US, China, Germany, and Japan. With a population of approximately 679 million people, the GDP per capita would reach around $5,692, placing it in the middle income group. Military. In 2022, Southeast Asian countries spent a total of $43.1 billion on military expenditures, ranking 12th in the world, just behind Japan and South Korea, while far surpassing Italy. The 3 strongest teams among them are Indonesia, Vietnam, and Thailand. According to the latest ranking from Global Firepower, Indonesia currently ranks 13th in the world in military strength, while Vietnam and Thailand hold the 22nd and 25th positions, respectively. If unified, Southeast Asia would possess a military force of over 10.167 million personnel, including 2.155 million active duty troops, 7.155 million reserve forces, and 857,000 paramilitary members. This is the most powerful army in the world. However, considering only the number of active military personnel, Southeast Asia ranks second with 2,185,000 troops, just behind China. Regarding reserve forces, Vietnam currently has the largest number with approximately 5 million people. 3.1 million are Russia. The paramilitary force has a strength of up to 857,000 personnel. Although not part of the world's largest group, it is still enough to rank in the top 5, placing above China and Russia but behind North Korea, South Korea, India, and Cuba. Regarding the Air Force, currently, Southeast Asian countries possess a total of 2,160 aircraft of various types. Among these, the Air Force includes 339 fighter jets, 151 attack aircraft, 218 transport planes, and 16 tanker aircraft. As for helicopters, the entire region has 855 units, with 51 of them being attack helicopters. For comparison purposes, I will use data from the Chinese Air Force in the next 5 minutes. This force has a total of 3,304 aircraft, including 1,207 fighter jets, 371 attack aircraft, 289 transport planes, 10 tanker aircraft, and 913 helicopters, of which 281 are attack helicopters. The unique cold of the military. Southeast Asia currently has a total of 4,395 tanks, 919 self-propelled guns, 4,293 towed artillery pieces, and 1,710 multiple rocket launcher systems. Currently, China possesses a formidable arsenal, including 5,000 tanks, 3,850 self-propelled artillery units, 1,434 towed artillery pieces, and 3,180 multiple rocket launcher systems. Regarding the Navy, if Southeast Asian countries were to unite into a single nation, the naval force of this unified country would possess a total of 1,258 warships, including 40 light destroyers, 61 frigates, 22 submarines, and 603 patrol vessels. Alongside it is the Thai Navy's HTMS Chakri Narubet aircraft carrier, measuring 182 meters in length with a displacement of just 11,500 tons. This vessel is significantly smaller than American supercarriers, which have displacements exceeding 100,000 tons. The STMS Jagri Narubet was commissioned in 1996 with its primary mission being to patrol Thailand's sovereign waters and exclusive economic zone, as well as participate in search and rescue operations. The ship reaches a maximum speed of 27 knots, equivalent to approximately 50 kilometers per hour. This ship can carry 393 sailors, 62 officers, and 146 pilots and flight crew members. Currently, the STMS Jagri Narubet serves a role similar to a mobile helicopter landing platform, but it is hardly involved in any naval operations. China currently possesses 730 warships, including 49 destroyers, 42 frigates, 72 corvettes, 61 submarines, 150 patrol vessels, and 3 aircraft carriers, namely the Liaoning, Shandong, and Fujian. In addition, mainland China also possesses 3 Type 075 amphibious assault ships. It is evident that even if Southeast Asian countries were to unite, they would still struggle to build a military force as formidable as that of China, Russia, or the United States. However, with a substantial military force, Southeast Asia is fully capable of defending against any attack, whether on land or at sea. When a new nation is established, choosing its capital is always a challenging task for its leaders. The 10 most populous cities in Southeast Asia, in order, are Jakarta, Bangkok, Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, Yangon, Singapore, Surabaya, Kuwait, Bandung, and Bekasi. Among these, 4 cities are located on the island of Java in Indonesia, with Jakarta being the most populous at over 10 million people, while the Greater Jakarta metropolitan area has a population exceeding 30 million. Currently, this is also the headquarters of ASEAN. However, Jakarta is located far from the mainland Southeast Asia region, so it will not be chosen as the capital. Similarly, cities like Bangkok, Hanoi, Yangon, or Kuwait are all far from the central region of Southeast Asia. Therefore, there will be 2 options: Singapore or Ho Chi Minh City. In 2011, Saigon Port in Ho Chi Minh City handled 8 million TEUs of cargo, ranking 26th in the world. The Port of Singapore handled 37.49 million TEUs of cargo, ranking 2nd in the world, just behind China's Port of Shanghai. Beyond its developed infrastructure and vibrant economy, Singapore also boasts a strategic geographical location at the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula. Thus, it lies in an intermediate position between mainland Southeast Asia and maritime Southeast Asia. Moreover, Singapore is located at a strategic position, the narrowest point of the Malacca Strait. If Southeast Asian countries were to unite into a single nation, this entire strait would fall within the new country's exclusive economic zone. Therefore, it is necessary to deploy a strong naval force in Sumatra and the Malay Peninsula to protect this vital strategic route. Choosing Singapore as the capital would make managing the massive military forces more convenient compared to basing it in Ho Chi Minh City. Additionally, Singapore is difficult to invade even if Southeast Asian countries unite as one bloc. Previously, Japan had occupied French Indochina and used Thai territory as a springboard to attack Malaya, including present-day West Malaysia and Singapore. Currently, with the military strength of a united Southeast Asian bloc, fully annexing the three Indo-Chinese countries would be extremely difficult. Launching a direct sea attack on Singapore is also no small challenge. Decapitation strike. This means that if they want to launch a direct attack on Singapore's capital, they would have to deploy their navy from the Du Lam base in the southern part of Hainan Island. Covering over 2,000 kilometers of sea, such a large-scale troop movement certainly couldn't evade radar. Meanwhile, if India were to launch an attack from the INS Jarawar base in Port Blair, part of the Andaman Islands, the distance would also extend up to 1,700 kilometers. Navigating through the narrow Malacca Strait is also no small challenge for the Indian Navy. When the defensive bases on Sumatra Island and the Malay Peninsula began operating at full capacity. To the south, if Australia intends to attack Singapore, its navy could deploy from the SMAS Coonawarra base in Darwin. You have to travel a distance of over 3,500 kilometers. Additionally, the eastern region of Indonesia has countless small islands. Therefore, mobilizing a large military force would be very difficult to keep concealed. Even in the worst-case scenario, if Singapore falls, the Southeast Asian government can still quickly relocate from other major cities. Specifically, Singapore is 1,900 kilometers from Yangon, 1,400 kilometers from Bangkok, and 1,050 kilometers from Ho Chi Minh City. Jakarta is 900 kilometers away, while Kuala Lumpur is only 310 kilometers away. Hanoi and Manila are the urban areas farthest from Singapore, with distances of approximately 2,200 kilometers and 2,400 kilometers, respectively. Situated between two vast oceans, the Pacific and the Indian, Southeast Asia serves as a vital bridge linking Asia to Europe while connecting the East and the West. Indeed, if it becomes a unified nation, this region will have to balance the interests of the major powers. The passage includes countries such as the United States, China, and India. Additionally, Australia, Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan are also important partners. China is both a partner and a rival. The country is quietly expanding its influence and illegally occupying areas in the South China Sea. 9-line. Beijing will undoubtedly continue to employ gray zone tactics to turn non-disputed areas into new flashpoints of conflict. However, they still keep the conflict at a level below the threshold of war to avoid direct military confrontation. Currently, Southeast Asian countries are temporarily setting aside their differences to jointly respond to China. However, if we can consolidate a powerful naval force, we will be better able to protect our maritime and island territories. And force the Beijing authorities to think carefully before acting. At sea is one thing, but on land, the core issue revolves around water disputes, particularly concerning the Mekong River. With a length of 4,350 kilometers, this river flows through the territories of 6 countries, including China, Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam. The downstream area of the Mekong River is an ideal location for constructing large-scale hydroelectric dams. And according to estimates, it has the capacity to generate up to 30,000 megawatts of electricity. Currently, in the mainland Southeast Asia region, there are a total of 44 hydropower dams built on both the mainstream and tributaries of the Mekong River. Currently, China has 11 dams, but the scale of its hydropower dams is much larger. The total capacity of the 11 reservoirs in this country is 24.4 billion cubic meters. From this, it can be seen that this billion-person nation has the capacity to control up to 49.6% of the water stored in the hydropower reservoirs along the Mekong River. If Southeast Asian nations unite into a single bloc with strong economic and military potential, this alliance could certainly exert significant pressure on Beijing. From then on, China's ambitions were restrained both on land and at sea. As India increasingly leans toward the west, joining the Quad has become a crucial move. Including the countries of the United States, Australia, Japan, and India. In case the Southeast Asian region also tends to support the Star and Stripes nation. The mainland will be isolated on the international stage, so the relationship between China and Southeast Asia will be both cooperative and competitive. Here are the possible outcomes if Southeast Asia were to become a unified nation. If you want us to make a video about a certain topic, leave a comment below. Hello everyone, and see you all in the upcoming videos.